Hello my Funatics and welcome to week 4 of the PPL. Hopefully you've just seen week 3 and you can get really stuck into your marathon of my late PPL games right now. This one is against Schady, and as always I'm going to go through the team builder bit first, and you can skip to the battle in the description. If I haven't time linked the description, then let me know, because I do sometimes forget to do that. So yeah, this is the first one back because I didn't manage to do my last battle. I am in a position where I could do this one, but it will be on Showdown because I hadn't configured my DS to the new Wi-Fi yet. Wasn't even sure if it could connect, and it was just easier for both me and Schady. This match was delayed, and yeah. So anyway, I'll show you my prep and Shady's terrifying team. Yeah, Schady has a really terrifying team. It's really scary and has one of my favourite picks of the entire draft in Lucario, which normally gets overlooked because people are so adamant on getting their Fairy Dragon Steel core and everyone picks a bulky steel, but Lucario is such a great offensive threat, and I know this because I faced it in my very first draft league game against Sental MC, and he did a lot of damage to me with it. It was really quite sad, but it's it's a big threat, and I'm very aware of it now. Let's just put it that way. On top of that, he's got some draft league favourites in Clefable, Nidoqueen, and Latias. Like, everyone knows that they're absolutely amazing right now. They're just some of the best things you can pick in League, and I can't believe Latias did drop so far. Like, it's definitely a round 1 pick. But well done Schady for getting it late, as I guess everyone else was trying to be a bit more creative. Lol. No, I can't say that because you did draft Mega Pidge as well, which is absolutely awesome, and some really good value picks later on as well. Simisu, I think, was great, and I love Gourgeist. He's just got a really cool team, and I could talk about it for ages. But I'll get into my prep just so that it's a bit more focused. So I decided that my win con was going to be Talonflame. There are a number of things that I could have picked. I have a few things that match up really well in terms of offense, and so I had to kind of pick and choose, but I decided on Talonflame in the end. I feel like there are things that it definitely can set up on, and I chose Bulk Up variant because it just is a lot better. It means that it's not going to be revenged by an extreme speed from Lucario, as opposed to a Sword Stance set, in which case extreme speed would come in and do a massive amount of damage. And also it means that I can set up on a Foul Play Gourgeist without any problems, so that's cool. And I've got Taunt on there so that I can beat Clefable if it's unaware, so that it can't soft boiled up. And so I felt like this Talonflame would probably be the best set if I wanted to sweep. Obviously I have to take care of some things first, mainly just the Rotom. His Talonflame's, like, time has gone by, and all through Talonflame and Rotom W have had this ancient enmity. They just will never get along, and they will always be at each other's throats. So yeah, that's the one thing that I need to watch out for with this Talonflame, and I'll explain some of the things that I thought about trying to deal with that Rotom later. Oh, but also to note, I didn't want to go like full Spadef because I wanted this thing to be a Revenger too. If he perchance does not bring anything that I want to set up on, then I want this thing to still be useful, and the best way for me to ensure that is to just plug everything into my attack stat and have Brave Bird over Acrobatics, because I want to hit hard. So that means that I can threaten Pidgeot and his faster attackers in that way. So I felt like that was better than being a defensive Talonflame. The next thing I'm bringing is to stop the aforementioned Lucario. It was literally the only check that I could think of for my entire draft, and I really would appreciate it if you guys could see anything else on my draft that I could have picked that would check a Lucario, a Sword Stance Lucario, because the set he will be bringing, and I was absolutely sure on this, there was no doubt in my mind that Schady would be bringing an SD, E-Speed, Iron Tail, and Close Combat Lucario, because it decimates my team. It is terrifying. The only thing that he might do is swap up Iron Tail for Ice Punch, so that then he can hit Golurk, and not have to miss. But then he can't sweep with it if my Sylveon is defensive and healthy. So I think the Iron Tail is far more likely because he gets an SD up and he can just sweep. He needs very little damage on my team. Whatever team that I bring, he would need very little damage on, and that just a +2 with those 3 attacks would sweep. So literally the only set that I think could check this was a Scarf Golurk. Of course, Scarf Golurk, the check to everything. No, it's because obviously E-Speed he's immune to, and he will outspeed a Lucario, so I will be able to threaten it out with the Earthquake. I had debated on other sets that I could bring, but I felt like having a powerful Shadow Punch to also threaten Latias would be useful. If Latias is max speed, then I don't actually outspeed it, but I'm doubting that very much, because I think that it will be... if it has speed EVs, it will speed creep my Haxorus, because I doubt that he's going to be prepping for Choice Scarf Golurk, so that's the good thing that goes in my favour. So at least I'll be able to get a very powerful Shadow Punch with the Iron Fist boost, and then Ice Punch is there to cover for other things. I need it for Mega Pidgeot, even though Mega Pidgeot does outspeed me. I need it for Mega Pidgeot, I need it for... what else do I need it for? The other stuff. It's a quite good coverage as well, because it means like if Nidoqueen's left around, if Gourgeist is left around, I can still hit them for some damage. So that's that. Unfortunately, I do have to go Jolly though. I can't go Adamant. And the last thing on there is Toxic, because if I can catch a Rotom, it'll help more than just hitting it with Shadow Punch. Defensive Rotom is still a problem for this set as well. Obviously, if I'm locking myself into Earthquake for Lucario, then that's not very good, and this set could be really risky. So I'm thinking I'm going to preserve it until I need it for Lucario or until late game, because I don't want him to know that it's Scarf. Because if he knows it's Scarf and I lock myself into Earthquake, then he's got so many options. He's got a Latias, he's got a Mega Pidgeot, and he's got a Rotom. So I do need to be careful about that. This thing could be more of a liability than anything. Next Pokemon is Aggron. Now, there are 2 sets that I could have run on this. It was potentially going to be my win condition, because a Rock Polish Aggron does incredible work to his team. Heavy Slam is just amazing against his team. The things that resist that are Simisear, which doesn't take it very well anyway, and Lucario, which again, I've got... So I just put Earthquake on there. I could just put Earthquake on there, and then that covers them completely. Heavy Slam does so much damage to everything, but there is one sticking point, which is Rotom, and I just felt like it was too much of a sticking point for this guy. He really can't do anything to it, at least because this will be a 1 chance thing. If I click Rock Polish, he knows it's Rock Polish, I probably take some damage. I'm not able to click Rock Polish again, whereas at least Talonflame has Roost, so it's not a one-time thing. Talonflame can have a number of opportunities to set up. So instead I went for this Bidef set. It gives me a switch into an offensive Latias. It helps me out with Clefable, because Clefable will then have to choose coverage. If it's got Fire Blast, then my Talonflame can set up on it, unless it's just fully offensive with like T-Bot or HP Rock or something like that. But yeah, I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily expect that. And this guy can take Fire Blast anyway and Heavy Slam it and kill it, so that's great. Yeah, Stealth Rock are going to be really crucial. I really need it to help with Pidgeot, because I don't have too many things that outspeed. In fact, it's just my priority on my Talonflame, so getting Rocks damage on that will be really, really useful. And also breaking any potential Sashes that might be there, and just generally Rocks. I love Rocks. But yeah, Sash Lucario could be a thing as well, so I want to do that. And Toxic is just there for the Rotom, so that's my way of dealing with that. 44 speed, I can't remember. Probably, it was a Gourgeist or something? I don't know. But yeah, it's a Spadef Aggron. It's not a Rock Polished Aggron, but hopefully it'll do the job. David is coming again. Starmie definitely doing very well so far. I love this Pokemon more than I potentially thought I would, so that's cool. And it's offensive this time. Life Orb Analytic. I love running this set. It has to be Timid, max speed, because of Sneasel. If Sneasel wants to come in and try and Pursuit Trap me, well, Flash Cannon does OHKO, so it's a risky strategy. And yeah, so I've got Flash Cannon. It's not actually there for Sneasel, it's there for Clefable. It should be able to do a lot of... I think it 2-hit KOs on the switching because of analytic. Maybe not though. Maybe not if it's like max special defense, but it does a lot. It does a lot. Psychic is there for the rotor mainly because I get to just do a lot of damage to it. If it's Fizz Death on a switch in, I think it does like 90. But it definitely 2-hit KOs, whatever. So that's good. And yes, Ice Beam's there as coverage for stuff like Latias. And mainly just Latias, because Latias has a lot of Spadef and I want to hit it quite hard. Oh, and Gorgeist, of course, Gorgeist, because I want an immediate way to hit that if I was trying to prevent my spin, because I really need to be able to spin for Talonflame. So that's the Starmie. There we go, we're rattling through these now. Sylveon is another Pokemon that had a very good matchup against Schady. His only resists, well, he's got two. He's got Simisear, which is offensive, doesn't take it too well anyway. And also Nidoqueen, I can cover that with Psyshock. I decided not to go Specs though, because I felt like Wish was too important. And Schady actually has a ton of special attackers. He doesn't have many physical attackers at all. He's got like, I guess he's got Sneasel, which I wasn't sure how likely that was, but it was a spooky threat and I didn't really like it. And this being defensive would definitely help for Sneasel, but it's not, and so it doesn't, which could be an issue. We'll see. And yeah, so then Nidoqueen can obviously be physical, but it can be special. Special move pool is maybe a bit better because like Ice Beam hits harder than Ice Punch. And then, yeah, the only other one, Armaldo, I really don't anticipate at all. And also Simisear can be mixed, but its special attacks are much better than its physical attacks. But it can get some good coverage there as well. Anyway, I'm going with, this set because I feel like its special bulk is going to be really useful. And the Wish Passing would hopefully be really useful. And then, yeah, I can just hit things with powerful hyper voices. Switches just don't appreciate it at all. So that's my Sylveon. And then the last Pokemon is my Lantern. I felt like I kind of needed this. It really helps out with Rotom, and it really helps out with Mega Pidgeot. And it's just useful for wearing things down. Like, I wanted Ice Beam for Gorgeist again. It hits it pretty hard. We've got Scold to get the burns. Obviously, Discharge is a bit cheeky, but it's because Thunderbolt, Discharge 2-hit KOs Mega Pidgeot, Discharge 2-hit KOs Mega Pidgeot, and I can get a higher chance of a paralysis. So I may as well go Discharge and try and para it before it gets another chance to confuse me with Hurricane. So I thought Discharge makes more sense. And then Volt Switch to keep the momentum. Assault Vest just because it's Lantern. What else do you put on it? And then the speed is there because I want to be quite fast, because what was it that I wanted to guarantee that I outspeed? Maybe Armaldo? I don't think that's why though. Maybe a defensive Rotom? Probably not. Oh wait, it was probably speed creeping like one of my own Pokemon. I'm not sure though. Maybe not. Give me one sec. Okay, so it's that outspeed, max speed, timid, Sylveon. So I was speed creeping myself because Nidoqueen, that's probably the most likely thing that it would want to try and speed creep. I don't really have, unless it wants to speed creep Lantern, which it could do, but it would, to outspeed like max speed timid Lantern, it would have to have a positive speed nature itself. So this way, basically, I either outspeed Nidoqueen or it's timid. Yeah, it's not modest or like jolly, not adamant. So that's good. So it wouldn't be as much of a threat. So that's quite interesting. I think that's quite interesting prep, Sam. Good effort. We'll see if it works. Yeah, so that's a Lantern helping out with a number of different things and just really nice coverage. That's what I like about Lantern. It's good for chipping, keeping the momentum there, and pretty hard to kill. And with the Wish support from Sylveon, hopefully it will do some stuff. It does have an even HP number though, which is looking very ugly in my mind. Don't like even HP numbers. But anyway, so yeah, that's the team. I was very upset that I hadn't got Haxorus on there. That's the Pokemon that I really, really wanted because it matches up incredibly well against Schady. Like, every time it comes in, it could potentially get a kill, but the issue was that he has like just hard things to cover for. I can't really cover for all of his things, which is really annoying. Like, I would need Outrage to be able to get some of the kills that I need, like on Gorgeist or Rotom. Dragonclaw just wouldn't cut it. But then he's obviously got the Clefable, which can be immune to that, and also the Latias can revenge if I lock myself in, so Outrage is risky. Then I can have Poison Jab for Clefable, which is fine, but I'd still need maybe EQ for the Nidoqueen. If I wanted more break at EQ for the Rotom as well, that could be a thing. And then like DD or whatever. But I felt like it would be too, like, I would have to Outrage, and Schady can just preserve the things to prevent me from clicking the Outrage. So it was a real shame. But I felt like this team was a bit more solid. Maybe a slightly less predictable in my win condition that I picked, and also some of the checks, like the Scarf Golduck, I'm really hoping will do some work, because I don't think he'll prep for it, and I don't think that he'll expect it, but we'll see. So we'll get into the battle now. As I say, it was on the showdown, so it's the replay, we'll get there. Okay, so here are the teams, and we have Shady's team at the top. He hasn't brought Clefable, which I'm very happy about, but also kind of sad that Haxorus didn't come, because it would have had a field day going for the Outrages. Although Sneasel can Ice Shard it, and Extreme Speed is there, and Latias is there, so that could potentially outspeed it. So, like, even then, Haxorus could be revenged quite easily, but still, I would have liked to have just been able to Outrage stuff. It meant that he was basically guaranteed a kill at some point in this match because Clefable wasn't there. But it's whatever. I mean, you see a Sneasel, which is not very nice, because I've just said I don't really have switch-ins to it. I just don't really have switch-ins to it. I guess Talonflame can probably take one hit and threaten it out, but that's about it. Low kick does way too much. If I'm not Mega Evolved with Aggron, then it just takes it down to its sturdy. If I am, then it does way over half. It's still a 2-hit KO. So really scary, and under prepped for, I would say. Then Simisear's there. I didn't really prep for it specifically, but not scared too much, because I've got both Starmie and Talonflame easily revenge it. And I've got, I've got Lantern. You can't really do anything to a Lantern unless it's physical or mixed, which it could be. And I mean, it's got some coverage, but even then, it's not OHKOing a Lantern, which can kill it. So I'm not too concerned about Simisear. Oh yeah, and my Golurk should outspeed it if he's speed creeping, so I've got that as well. Yeah, not too concerned about Simisear. Latias is there. Well, I mean, it's Latias, of course, it's coming. Same with Nidoqueen and Rotom. We need to see if that Rotom is defensive or not. And then, obviously, the huge throbbing threat at the end of the line there, which is Lucario. Oh my lord, that thing is so spook. I mean, it could be something weird, like with lots of coverage moves, or special, or mix, or something strange. But the SD set is like so likely, because it just looks like my team has nothing for it. I think I found one thing that might be okay with it, but I don't know. We'll have to see. So yeah, I'm going to lead with Starmie, because I feel like it's a generally quite a good lead. There aren't many things it wouldn't like to see. Wouldn't really want to see Rotom, because I don't want to take a Volt Switch that early. There are a couple of other things I wouldn't want to see, but definitely not Sneasel, because like Speed type first turn wouldn't be great, and I don't have switch-ins, as I say. So anyway, let's get into the battle, see what happens. So I lead Starmie as Schady decides to lead with Sneasel. Of course he bloody does. Of course. So we're starting early today, guys. This is a speed tie. I don't really have switch-ins for Sneasel at all. And if I switch out, he might pursue anyway, so that's not great. I feel like this is pretty bad. The fact that he's leading with Sneasel also may mean that it's sashed. If it is sashed, it's pretty much a guaranteed kill for him, because if I switch out, then he gets like 3 attacks on it. If I stay in, I get 1 attack on and die. So I think it's pretty much a guaranteed kill if he is sashed. But I feel like because of the chance of pursuit, and because he could be sashed and kill my switch in anyway, I feel like my best odds in this situation are actually staying in and going for the 50-50. He might want to switch out and preserve this thing, because it is a great asset to him. and he does have potential switch-ins for Starmie, depending on what is Spadef. Like, he could even run a Spadef Rotom that could switch into Starmie, I don't know. But I'm just going to go for a Flash Cannon, because I know that that KOs a Sneasel. It might be Stash. I might lose the speed tie. At least if I lose the speed tie, I'll have a full health Sylveon to come into pressure. But we'll see what happens. So anyway, I stay in, and I do win the speed tie, and he is not sashed, so I go up to an early 6-5 lead, and that is great. Now, I'm going to preface this match. This match has quite a bit of hacks in, or things determined by luck. This is one of them, and I would say that that is probably the biggest thing, the most consequential thing, that I win that speed tie. But we're both big boys, and we knew what we were getting into. Either of us could have switched out there, and so though I did get lucky, I mean, it was on both of us, I would say. And yeah, that was kind of big, but kind of great. And so now I'm up 6-5, and Latias comes in. I know that I can't Oko this with an Ice Beam, because it's just so fat. So I'm going to switch out into my Aggron. Hopefully he's not going for an HP Ground or an HP Fighting, because that will be pretty bad. That would be pretty bad. But he goes for the Psyshock, which I can easily eat up even before I Mega. Gonna Mega up now and go for a Stealth Rock, because that will help with Simisear and Sashes. As we see Reflect type with the Latias, and that is when I poop myself a little bit, because I realize I have pretty much nothing for a fat, levitating, steel type Latias. Like, how do I even deal with this? I can't Toxic it, I don't have Willow on my Talonflame, and I just am panicking and like, what am I going to do? I'll try Heavy Slam, and it does a decent amount of damage, but the Latias has lefties, and that's not great. So I'm going to go for a Heavy Slam again, and like now I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? So I'm gonna switch into Lantern, because I realize this thing has got max HP, and is likely to have max speed or a defensive stat, not special attack, I would have thought. It's not looking like an offensive set. So now he's lost Stab on Psyshock, even though my Lantern has no defense investment whatsoever. I know that I'll be able to take Psyshock's okay. And I'm going to go for a Discharge, because if I can stop it from roosting up by power haxing it, that would be a way of dealing with it. But nope, this game hates me. It hates me. And no, I can't play the victim after just winning that speed tie. I'm going to go for a Scold now, trying to catch the burn, because I realize if I get passive damage on the Latias, I can actually outstall it, because I do have ways of healing up my Pokemon in the form of Wish past Sylveon, which is what I'm going to go into right now. I need to throw up a Wish. If I can get a Wish to either Aggron or Lantern again, that would be really nice. The Latias is going to stay healthy though by roosting. So I'm going to throw up this Wish, and we see the threat Nidoqueen coming in. And that ain't ideal. But it kind of is ideal, because I've got max special attack Psyshock, and I've got Kebia Berry, and I've got a Wish in the air. So I've got pretty much nothing to lose just for going for a Psyshock right now, as Schady tries to prevent the Wish pass by going for the Earth Power, which is very understandable. I do get the crit, which is pretty great, but I mean, I think Psyshock was probably a 3-hit KO anyway. So it's not that big a deal. But now I still have the Kebia, and I want to get rid of this Nidoqueen, so I'm going to go for a Psyshock, and we see that I get another freaking crit. That was a huge crit. So this is the second bit of hacks of this match, and I do apologize to Schady for that one, because that was so unlikely, like super unlikely. And it kind of does change the match. Hard to know the full impact of it. We'll see going on whether, like, yeah, we'll see how crucial it is. We probably won't see how crucial it is, because everything would have played out differently anyway. But yeah, I still have my Kebia, so if he went for a poison type attack, I could easily eat it up. But then I'd been a lot lower health, so he'd have to deal with it in other ways. So now I'm at a very fortunate 6-4 lead, with quite a few healthy Pokemon. Some Pokemon not so healthy. But anyway, this puts me in a pretty bad position, which I wouldn't have been in, might I just say, if I hadn't have taken out the Nidoqueen. I've now given him a completely free switch into Lucario on my Fairy. This is not something that I particularly like. So we'll see what happens. So he goes into Lucario, and I am going to switch out. I don't feel like going for a Hyper Voice here is worth the risk. I kind of want my Sylveon around to maybe help with the Rotom and the Latias. So I'm going to sack my Lantern right here as Schady does get up the Swords Dance, which I'm pretty sad about. Now I have to go to Golurk. I didn't play this very well because I just was like, Golurk, Golurk, go, because I was so terrified of the Lucario. So I clicked it so fast because I feel so stupid. I should have played this much smarter and pretended to be like, shit, what do I do now? And not clicked anything for a while. And then gone into Golurk so that it wasn't like the most obvious thing in the world that I was Scarf. Because it was like, he took out my Lantern and then I just clicked Golurk straight away. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to click Earthquake and try and kill this Lucario as Schady does switch out because he's not going to let a Wincon go down so early. His Rotom comes in, and yeah, my Earthquake goes right under that Rotom because it's levitating, and now I don't have great switches on the Rotom. He can get Volt Switches on most things. So I'm going to go into my Sylveon, which eats a Volt Switch really easily. At this stage, it would be at very low health if it had taken the hit from Nidoqueen. And he actually goes into Simisear. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight into Talonflame. That might seem like a weird play. It's because I wasn't sure what set this Simisear was. And if he's just like a mixed attacker Simisear, he's probably going for the Gunk Shot right now. I feel like my Sylveon is more useful than my Talonflame at the moment because though Talonflame was initially my Wincon, it's not breaking through a bulky... Well, he's still got his Rotom, which completely stops it. That's the main reason. But also, there's the bulky Latias, which it's not going to break through very easily. And also, Lucario at this stage could Extreme Speed kill me. It does about 50%. Although he's not Life Orb, so maybe not. Maybe I could live in Extreme Speed. But anyway, this was like a sack. But also, if he is set up, then I know that my Talonflame threatens this out. At 75%, I'm guaranteed to kill it. Guaranteed kill. So anyway, yeah, so I go into my Talonflame as the Simisear does actually go for the Nasty Plot. So Talonflame survives, and now I'm thinking I'm going to threaten this thing out because I'm a flipping Talonflame, and I definitely kill this. So I'm going to switch into my Sylveon, predicting the Rotom's coming because it's like safe as houses switch. But actually, no. Schady just goes for the HP Rock. Now, I think this is a really strange play. He gets the crit as well there, by the way. Can I just call hacks? No, I'm just gonna pause there because I feel like Schady made a very strange play. He has Rotom, which he easily switches into Talonflame. He's seen the lefties, so what happened basically, I think, is that he saw the lefties and assumed that I was bulky Talonflame, which was a pretty bad play because this thing is actually really useful for him. And yeah, he didn't need to sack it like that when he has a Rotom for Talonflame. But I don't know. Maybe he was predicting my overprediction. I don't know. I don't think so, though. I think that he was thinking he could live a hit from a defensive Talonflame, which is kind of... But then, I don't know. I watched his video, and I think that he did just assume it was a defensive Talonflame, which I don't think was a great play. But anyway... Yeah, I took damage on the Sylveon, and that's not ideal. I could sack Sylveon right now, but I still think that it could be useful for something, not really sure what. And so I'm going to switch back into Talonflame, because at this stage it dies to any recoil anyway. But Schady actually misses a Fire Blast. Hallelujah! Hallelujah! And that means that I can revenge with my Talonflame. Again, I'm not sure how crucial this was because I still had Starmie to revenge this. And not much once, well, like the Latias would be able to switch in on that. But yeah, it was like a strange, that was just weird playing with his Simisear. He does just let it go down even though he still has a Rotom. Why didn't he switch out? I'm not sure. I would have died to recoil, which is what I thought he would do. But anyway, now I go into Starmie because if anything other than the Latias comes in, I pretty much get a kill. But no, that's not true. I wouldn't kill Rotom. I can't remember how much health it was at. Has it taken any damage? I don't think it had taken any damage. Yeah, I don't think that would have killed it with a Life Orb Psychic. But if I got that damage on, then Shadow Punch Golurk is looking really good, I suppose. But anyway, yeah, I'm not going to stay around for the Latias right now. I'm going to just switch into my Sylveon. I can't switch into my Aggron. Oh no, I switched straight into my Wincon here because I know his set, and so Psyshock is really the only thing that he could click. And I'm going to go for a Shadow Punch here to try and get damage on the Latias. That would really, really help me. Doesn't OHKO, but it should do a lot of damage. As Rotom comes in, and I'm getting some good damage on that. I can't remember if we haven't seen an item on this yet, and it's not got lefties. So anyway, next time it comes in, it's going to be at 36%, which is just a bit more than what Shadow Punch can do. So I'm not sweeping with Shadow Punch just yet. Going to sack Sylveon here, and that's fine. Sylveon goes down. I don't need it at this stage. Like, both Talonflame and Sylveon are I kind of just sacked off, but not very well because Schady missed a Fire Blast. Anyway, now I go into my Starmie and I'm clicking Ice Beam. Now, why do I click Ice Beam? Why do I click Ice Beam? Because I know that if I connect with the Rotom, he will be in Shadow Punch range. And I know that if he switches into Latias with the rocks, I think I stand a chance at 2-hit KOing, which would then mean that he would have to bring in something else, probably Lucario to revenge, which would mean that I could prevent the setup and then go into my Golurk to Shadow Punch and win, basically, is the thinking there. Yeah. So Ice Beam was definitely my play. If I went for Psychic and he switched into Latias, I was in a really bad position. I basically just lost a Pokemon there, and it would be really, really awful. So I had to make that play. But now Rotom's in range, and I go for a Psychic here, and I think that's... Wait, no. He Will-O-Wisp me first. So I've got all this residual going on. Yeah, I go for a Psychic here because there isn't actually any need for me to hit KO the Latias right now, and he could well just be sacking his Rotom anyway, seeing as though it's not as useful for the rest of my Pokemon, although it kind of is for Golurk. I'm not sure why he did that. Maybe he just didn't think that it was Scarf. But yeah, if he had switched into Latias, then getting a Death Drop with Psychic would have been useful, because then I would have been able to Ice Beam it for more damage. But you can see here he's just going to Storm me out, and that he'll be left at full health. I can't go into Aggron, as I've said, because it'll just reflect type and I will lose. So what I have to do now is go into Golurk, and yeah, it's a full health Latias. I'm obviously not OHKOing, but I will be doing a lot of damage, and I can just lock myself into Shadow Punch quite safely, because he either goes... if he goes into Lucario, he's 2-hit KO'd. If he stays in with Latias, he's 2-hit KO'd and can't KO me back. Although I live on a very little amount of HP, but that amount of HP is very important because it allows me to switch out and switch up moves. We still don't know the full moveset of this Lucario, though. I'm assuming it has close combat, but the last move could be Bullet Punch, Iron Tail, or Ice Punch. Not sure which. Bullet Punch would be a bit strange. Iron Tail seems much more likely. Ice Punch is also an option. We see that the Lucario does go for Iron Tail, though, so I'm pretty much guaranteed the win there. Yeah, this thing will go down to a close combat. I mean, he got the defense drop. What a hackser. Can you believe how much hacks that Schady got this game? But anyway, I'm going to go back into my Golurk that lives on 3%, and then is able to outspeed and Earthquake the Lucario. So that's the match, and boy, was it like really hacksy. Oh my lord. Yeah, loads of hacks went my way, and I do apologize to Schady for that. I have no idea what it would have turned out like differently. I think the first turn, if on the first turn he had won that speed tie, I would have thought that Schady would win. Like, he'd still have his Sneasel, which would have been a right menace to my team, and I wouldn't have had my Starmie, which was actually really useful in the end. Was it really useful in the end? I mean, it killed Rotom. I guess it got damage on the Rotom, which is what I really needed. Rotom was stopping both Golurk and Talonflame, and without my Starmie, it would have been really hard to whittle that. And the crits on the Nidoqueen would have got him more damage on Sylveon, but looking back, I actually not sure how much that mattered, because it meant that he got a free switch into Lucario and a free kill, and also I did some weird switching with my Sylveon. Maybe if I didn't have my Sylveon, I'd have just revenged that Simisear and like would have been no issues. But I don't know. It was a weird game. I felt like Schady made some strange plays. I felt like it was a really good game and really intense. And I felt like I, again, hacked my way a little bit. This league, I haven't had a clean match yet. I really haven't had a clean match yet. But again, yet again, can I just point out, I have 0 inaccurate moves other than Toxic. Toxic is like the limit of my inaccuracy, and I didn't click it once this match. So literally 0 inaccurate moves. Schady, on the other hand, Fire Blast on the Simi-Steer, Will-O-Wisp and Hydro on the Rotom, and also Iron Tail on the Lucario. If that isn't asking for a loss, I don't know what is. So that's just my closing comment on this match. Inaccurate moves in league format. Yeah, this is not a way to go. The thing is league format is a one chance thing. In this league anyway, you only get to play the other coach once. And in those kind of situations, you need to minimize hacks. In the case of things like VGC, where you have 3 battles, if it's an 85% chance to hit move, over 3 battles, that means you'll probably get lucky 2 out of 3 times. And so it's worth going for those more powerful moves. But when it's a one-time thing, then you're much more likely to be screwed over. So that's just my thoughts, and I did win using Shadow Punch, which never misses. So that's my take on things. That is a window into the world of Foo. So yeah, this is week 4. I have had my week 5, which should be going up very soon, so that you can continue your marathon of Mewcastle United PPL games. I hope you're enjoying it so far. I've been Foo, you've been awesome, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.